Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Lollipop and today we have our final 2023 update to the Trek Marlin lineup, finishing it off with the top-end Trek Marlin 8 Gen 3. Now if you haven't been following my channel lately, definitely check out my previous two videos on the new Trek Marlin 7 and Trek Marlin 6 Gen 3 bikes. I explained a lot of details on the new Marlin lineup in the Marlin 6 videos, so I'll link that in the description below, but for this video we're going to focus mainly on the changes to the Marlin 8. I'll go over every single detail that has been upgraded for the Marlin 8 Gen 3, and I'll complete this table to highlight all of those changes in one place. And hey, if this content is interesting to you or helpful at all, please consider subscribing to my channel and clicking on the bell icon so you can get notified when I upload videos on these brand new Trek bikes. Now real quick, if you have seen my previous two videos on the Trek Marlins, you can go ahead and skip to the actual comparison, but for those of you who have not seen those, I'll still include the background info and information on the new Marlin frame for 2023. So background-wise, the Trek Marlins are designed as beginner mountain bikes, but they can also be used as commuter bikes since the frames on these models do have mounts for a kickstand and for a rear rack. The Marlin 8 is the highest end Marlin you can buy, and it has some great upgrades for this year. And for this video, I'm only going to talk about the parts on this bike that have been updated for the new Marlin 8. So if I don't talk about a specific component in this video like the suspension fork or the drivetrain, it means that that part is the exact same one found on the previous Marlin 8 Gen 2. Okay, now let's go over that brand new Marlin frame for the Gen 3 bikes. I covered this in much more detail in my Marlin 6 video linked below, but I will say that both the old and new frames use Alpha Silver aluminum from Trek and have internal cable routing, but the new frame has routing for an internal dropper post as well, which is definitely a nice frame feature to see. The new frame also now uses a through-skew axle in the rear to secure the rear wheel, which is an improvement over the old quick-release axles since the through-skew is more stable and ensures that the back wheel is centered in the bike. The new frame also has a better chainstay protector to prevent chain damage, but overall the biggest update is to the geometry measurements. I'll put the main geometry figures on the screen right now so you can see the updates, but essentially the new Marlin frame is going to provide much more confidence while riding downhill, and it still has a good enough seating position to go uphill efficiently. I'll throw up all of the geometry measurements on the screen right now as well, but the new frame is a good improvement for sure. Alright, now let's get into the Marlin 8 updates, starting with the price. The Gen 2 Marlin 8 currently costs $1,330 US, but is on sale now for $1,200, while the new Marlin 8 will start at $1,300. And next we have everyone's favorite part of the video according to my YouTube analytics, the color updates. Okay, so the previous Marlin 8 came in two colors, which were a gloss alpine to a gloss Neaster black fade, as well as a gloss radioactive red color with nautical navy accents. Pretty long names there, but both of these colors have been replaced with a new matte Neaster black color, which has some really nice tan wall tires on it, and the color crimson, which is definitely a nice dark red color. For the component updates, I'll start off with the cooler ones first. For the 2023 Gen 3 Marlin 8, we actually have a dropper post this year. For those of you that don't know, a dropper post is a type of seat post that moves up and down, allowing you to get lower on your bike while riding for better balance and stability. The Gen 2 bike uses a normal alloy Bontrager seat post that's on all of the other Marlins as well, but the Gen 3 now comes with a Trans X JD dropper that is internally routed and has 150mm of travel in all sizes above medium. This is actually the same dropper that is found on all of the Trek Roscoe bikes, which are much more expensive, so that's a nice feature to see here. And the other larger update is to the tires, which were Maxxis Ardent race tires on the Gen 2 Marlin, but have been changed to the normal Maxxis Ardent tires for the Gen 3. The Ardent race tires are more light-duty and cross-country oriented, while the Ardent tires are more trail-oriented. Both tires are 60 TPI, but the newer bike now uses a 2.4-inch width in all sizes for added stability and comfort while riding. Both tires are also tubeless ready, which means that you can convert these bikes to a tubeless setup much more easily after taking out those inner tubes, so you can have a better time riding without getting a flat. And I will mention real quick that Maxxis on their own website does show that the regular Ardent tires on the Gen 3 bike are slower and worse at cornering and braking than the Ardent race models, so that's just something to consider. Besides those changes, there are a lot of smaller updates that I can cover now. So the rear hub on the new bike is the same model Formula DC hub, but it just uses the through-skew axle mentioned before. And then the stem on both bikes is the same Bontrager alloy stem. However, the new bike just uses shorter stem lengths in all sizes to give you a more upright seating position that is better for riding downhill. Next, the handlebar has been updated. Same model still, but it is now 750mm wide in most sizes for added control over the bike, and it has slightly more rise at 15mm instead of 5mm to give you a more upright seating position as well. And lastly, we have the official weights of both of these bikes, and you can see here that the Marlin 8 Gen 3 does weigh about 2.5 pounds more than the previous Marlin, and that's a trend we're seeing with these new models. They are definitely heavier than the Gen 2 bikes, unfortunately. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this series of 3 videos on the new Marlins. I'll show the completed table with all the details now, but for my thoughts, I think this Marlin 8 is amazing actually. Not too many updates for 2023 besides the new frame, but I'm super happy that they finally put a dropper post on this bike. It really makes it more capable and fun to ride, and those new Maxxis tires look super nice as well. They may not be as good as the tires from last year, but we'll have to wait and see how they perform on this bike with the wider width. Overall, I'm happy with these updates, and I'll end the video here. As always, thank you guys for watching, and remember to keep biking.